Pirates live in a world of fantasy, but I usually paint with a realistic style. Today I'm going to break that mold and really lean into the fantasy side of it. Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Joanna and I paint miniatures. Today's miniature that I'll be painting with you is a pirate bust from Ghibli Art. And today's miniature starts in a book, not a storybook like most pirate stories are, but from an art book. All of the art in this book is reinterpretations of a classic Japanese artist, Hokusai. He is famous for the wave over Mount Fuji, and one of those artists, Johanna Foster, did a painting that was inspired by Studio Ghibli style art, which really sang to me because I love Studio Ghibli. I'm really excited to try something new and push myself outside of my comfort zone. So let's get painting. All right, let's tell a story with this mini. I am doing some wet blending to create a sunset type of color scheme. I just imagine him sitting on the bow of his ship looking out over the ocean at sunset, trying to decide where to go to on his next adventure. Another thing I do with this mini for the first time is color mapping on the face. I'm using blue, yellow, and magenta on his face to map out some undertones that I will add skin tones to over the top. I was really skeptical of this. I've seen it a few times in digital painting and other artists on canvas, and I wanted to see it in action for myself. And I was actually really pleasantly surprised and excited to see it work. It was really fun to put that skin tone over the top of it and see all those colors kind of blend in, and it looked really good. So I'm excited to keep working with that technique. Wet blending is a great way to add a lot of color to your mini fast, and it allows you freedom. You can move things around. Using heavy body acrylics is a great way to get your wet blending done. It takes a couple of coats, usually 2 or 3 sometimes, to get a nice smooth blend, but it's all just a base for everything I'm going to do on top of it. After we spent all that time wet blending and getting relatively smooth transitions from color to color, we're going to kind of ignore those. The whole premise of this art technique is creating color layers and transitions with hard or defined edges. Nothing is smoothly blended, and the edges of the color transitions are kind of amorphous in nature, like an amoeba. The goal is to create dramatic shifts in tone and color from dark to light, from highlight to shadow, and I start with kind of like a oblong oval-like shape. And at first it looks a little messy, but just keep working it, keep it as neat as you can. A lot of these rougher edges will definitely get cleaned up in the future. So relax, enjoy the process, and have fun with it. Here I decided that the oblong ovals weren't giving me the amount of texture that I was looking for, so I started to adjust the shape by adding some random dots to break up those smoother edges just a little bit, but I still keep each of the shapes unique and separate from the shape or the color that it's sitting on top of. I really want to keep each of these color transitions defined and crisp. Now, because I've changed the look that I'm looking for as far as the type of texture I want to achieve, I changed from a stroke style painting method to more of a stippling style to give me that irregular edge between each color. Now, it takes about 2 or 3 passes to get a nice opaque layer of color. Funny the thoughts that you have while you're painting. For example, I was thinking while painting these octopus tentacles black on the inside as I was tickling the octopus. Tickle, tickle. Now his hat was looking a little cold, so I wanted to warm it up with some red tones, so I used some red earth ink in a very thin application, a glaze application, just to tint it. I think I gave him about 3 passes of this before the color shifted the way I wanted it to. For his skin, I just used a stippling technique the entire time and worked from dark to light, bringing highlights higher and higher in each of the areas I wanted to be brighter. This gave a more irregular texture to his skin. He is not young, he's not a baby, so he's not going to have a nice smooth complexion. It also kept the texture and theming for the art technique I was using in line with everything else. Again, I'm not looking for super smooth blends at this point. I just want to create transitions between light and dark. The edges are not blended, they are stippled, and it's just part of the style that I'm going for. continue to work between your highlights and your shadows until you're happy. I do this many times. I go between my highest highlights and my darkest shadows, trying to keep my contrast high, but not focusing on blending. And remember, your darker paints are going to dry a little lighter and your lighter paints are going to dry a little darker. So the first time you put down a color, let it dry before you decide on where to go next with it. About halfway through this project, I started to see it as kind of like a modified cell shading technique, the technique used for comic book style painting, keeping your colors defined and your edges crisp to make your color transitions more dramatic. Let's not forget about our little friend down here. Almost every face I paint, I will always glaze in some magenta to bring it some extra life. This isn't meant for blending at all. Usually you can use glazing to help blend your layers together, but this is more of an overall color shift, so each of those layers stays nice and defined. And while I'm thinking about it, I'm just going to block in these eyes real quick before we move on to the next step. Every fancy captain's coat has got to have some embroidered details. This is done with just a bunch of little tiny lines all around the edges of his collar, coat, the front panel, and his shoulder boards. In some areas, I felt like I got a little too heavy-handed with my stitches, so I go back in with some black to help redefine those edges just a little better. I was not happy with the way the shoulder boards were looking, so I just decided to erase them and start again with a different style of embroidery. I went online and looked up some nautical pictures of old-fashioned captain's uniforms and found a much bolder type of embroidery style for the shoulder boards that I thought would look a lot better. So that's what I'm going to do here. really nice thing about this art style is it made doing my NMM or non-metallic metal on the octopus and buttons much easier. When you do a stippled technique like this, it just gives it a worn or hammered texture, and you don't have to worry about having really smooth blends. You're really just working from super dark to super light without worrying about smooth transitions. You're looking for contrast to make things look like they're slightly shiny, but nothing too polished. Alright, let's give this guy a little salt and pepper. For his mutton chops, I just went ahead and followed the sculpt. There was a lot of texture there, so it was pretty easy to figure out where to place the highlights. Now it is dusk, so he's going to have a 5 o'clock shadow. He is not fully gray yet. He's got a little bit of his original darker hair color still poking through, so that's what I start with. Anytime I paint hair, I always start with darker strokes underneath, especially things like eyebrows. Your hair does cast a shadow. The nice thing about painting hair is you don't always have to follow the original shadow line that you paint in first. You're more or less just kind of suggesting that the hair you paint on top is casting a shadow, and so that's what I was doing here. I really strongly believe you should have fun with your minis. For this particular piece, I decided to give him a lot of ear and nose hair, and I was having so much fun painting it that I was just giggling to myself the whole time. I thought it was so funny. Last thing to do is give him a few gray whiskers, and this gentleman is fully flocked. I decided to give him blue eyes because the octopus is blue, and I wanted to pull some of that blue up higher into the mini. I definitely want to do a tutorial in the future where I show how I paint my eyes with much clearer and closer photography, but here are a few things to consider. Your irises, or the colored parts of the eye, are not going to be full circles. He's not looking at you with this surprised look on his face, so just try to paint in like a half circle. The top eyelid of his eye is going to be covering half of his iris and pupil. Now the sclera, or the white part of your eye, is not bright white. Paint in a nice warm gray or even slightly pinkish tone for your whites of your eyes before you go in and paint your irises. Work from dark to light as you move from the edge of your iris into the center of your eye. You want a nice punchy color on the edge of your iris to give some great contrast and color. You also want to draw some really fine lines leading from the iris to the center of the eye to give that iris the texture of the striations that you see inside of an iris when you look up nice and close. Alright, the last and final step is to outline each of our color transitions with a darker color. For example, magenta, purple, and darker brown. You want to make sure there's at least 2 steps in that color from the edge. Otherwise, you're just painting in a clean border that's going to disappear. So you really want to actually see that border between each color. This is going to give everything a nice sense of movement and texture and give it that illustrative look that we're looking for. The only place I do not do this outlining is on his face. I thought that it would just be too busy and too distracting. That was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun trying something different, and I'm really happy with the results. I do plan on going back and making a few changes to this particular piece. I would like to actually enter it into a competition, but as it stands right now, I don't think it would go as far as it could possibly go. So there will be some changes I will make to it, but as it is right now, I am really happy with it. It's so much fun to see something a little different on my shelf. Well, thank you so much for coming on this adventure with me. It was a lot of fun, and I definitely learned a little bit when it comes to trying to fight my urge to blend and be realistic in my paintings. So that was a lot of fun to do that. If you really enjoyed this, please do not hesitate to touch all the little buttons down below. Comment, tell me what kind of art style you would love to try for yourself or you think you'd like to see on this channel. I'm always open for suggestions. So until next time, stay adventurous, keep painting, and I will see you again. Bye.